This is the Planning Commission meeting for August 10th, 2022. It is 6:01 and we will be starting our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Miles Miller will lead that for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's have a roll call.
Miles Miller, no conflicts.
Robert Knudsen, no conflicts.
Melissa Kendall, no conflicts.
Lisa Jensen, no conflicts. Okay, we have two items on our agenda tonight. The first one is a concept plan approval for a 6-unit townhome. And the second one is an administrative item, or excuse me, a legislative item that we will be making a recommendation to the council on. And it is a zone map amendment for that same townhome development. So I will read them both in, and then as a commission, we need to assess whether the concept plan is something that we feel is something we could support, and then we can have that conversation about how we feel about the zone map amendment request in association with that. So we can kind of merge the two together as we talk about it. Item 1, Matt W. Brown requests concept plan approval for a 6-unit townhome development in a proposed low-density residential zone located at 193 West, 4800 North in the River Bottoms neighborhood. And item number 2, Matt W. Brown requests a zone map amendment from the Pro R22 zone to the low-density residential zone for property located at 193 West, 4800 North to allow for a 6-unit townhome development in the River Bottoms neighborhood. We will have Mr. Ardmore present this to us, and you can mix and match your presentation with both items.
Thank you. Appreciate you reading them in together, because that's kind of how my slides are anyway. So the property is here, just along 4800 North across from the Riverwoods. You might recognize to the right the flat Riverwoods apartment project that has recently finished, and then some offices to the west. So it's in the River Bottoms neighborhood. The concept, like you mentioned, is for 6 townhomes. Here's kind of how that would fit in to the area. We'll zoom in on that in a minute. General plan designation is for residential. So it complies with the general plan designation there. And the reason it's before us is because right now it is in the Pro R22 zone, and the request for 6 townhomes requires a zone change. And they've identified the LDR, the low density residential zone, as the tool to get that done. So looking at this concept plan specifically, there's a couple major site constraints that I wanted to point out. They're in the staff report, but let me just point them to you here. The Provo River has a minimum 40-foot setback from the top of bank. So that takes up a good portion of the property that's just undevelopable. Okay. Another site constraint is this 4800 North is an arterial road. So any new access would not be permitted. So they are required to use an existing access through the Flats at Riverwoods apartment building. So they've worked through their site plan with those things in mind. Looking at their site plan, you can see that you can't really do much more with the property than this unless you could stack the units. The LDR zone does not allow for stacked units. So this is pretty much the most you're going to get out of the LDR zone on this site. The site works through, like I said, this access here and providing garage access to each individual unit. So each unit has 4 off-street spaces. They are 4-bedroom units, and conceptually, of course, the number of bedrooms could change with the project plan, but That meets code. They've provided the proper setbacks for the LDR zone all the way around the building. If we look at the elevations, again, these are conceptual, but they've come a long way on a conceptual plan to show materials and design that would meet the design standards of the LDR zone. And then here are the floor plans, just to give you an idea of kind of how they imagine these working out, family occupancy. But as the concept plan meets code, really the bigger decision is with the zone change. Staff recognizes that this was zoned Pro R22 after a lot of discussion with the neighborhood initially with the Flatsett River Woods project. A lot of that discussion came from the residents along 4750 North wanting to maintain single family lots in the area. Okay. As that developed out, the PEG developers who created this lot for, if you could zoom out, let me kind of give you a little bit more history. There was a home kind of in the middle of this project. So PEG, to make a deal to develop it, worked with that property owner that had that home right in the middle of their proposal, gave him this lot over here. And that was to be his new single family home. He walked away. The PEG split it off in its own parcel. It's traded hands a few times. But now we have this request to actually make use of the property. In staff's opinion, this LDR use with townhomes is a much better proposal for this spot than a single family home would be for a few reasons. Again, it's on a collector. It's on an arterial road, excuse me. If you look around the general area here, I guess that works. You've got apartment buildings here. You've got a restaurant here, offices to the northwest and directly to the west. Okay, you've got single family homes to the south. So already you've got a pretty good mix of land use. One thing that this area doesn't have is this kind of middle missing product, this townhome product. So we were encouraged by that. We were encouraged that they've come so far with the concept plan to show that it can meet the zone regulations of the zone they're asking for. Again, it helps meet the goals of the general plan to provide additional housing types and encourage balanced neighborhoods, something I think that this area could use is a little bit more balanced. So we recommend approval on these two items, and that's all I have prepared, but I'll take any questions.
Mr. Knutson.
Aaron, I had some questions about mostly about traffic. Can you show that other map that you had before? Okay, that one.
That one?
So all of the traffic, it can't go south, right? It can't go down to 4750.
So if I could zoom
It all
out
has
again.
to go out onto 4800.
Exactly. So there's a crash gate here. So this access is a fire department access only. That was the deal that was made with these homeowners on 4750. So even though you do see a driveway going to the south,
That's what made me wonder.
it's a crash gate. So yeah, you'd have to go out to 4800 north here. I suppose they could go through the parking lot and come out at the light if they're having trouble. I mean, if I'm turning left, I'm probably going to go out there to the light and go left. And if I'm going right, I could probably just jump out right there.
There, where it enters on 4800,
Mm-hmm.
is that wide enough that it has two lanes each way?
Yeah, that's an ingress and egress.
Left turning and a right turning each.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, right there on that corner.
You know, I'm not.
Back up traffic to the point where people won't be able to get in and out.
That's a good question. I know there's enough space for ingress and egress. I don't know if there's enough space for two egress lanes. David, do you recall on that one? I don't.
It kind of looks like it does have that house.
It bumps out to the right there, you can see.
It looks like it only has one on the, yeah.
Okay, so if you're to put David's comments on the record there, there's a right turn lane there, and then a combination through left. Okay, and then an entrance.
Is there a median there that would forbid a left-hand turn?
No, it's just asphalt all the way across.
Okay.
So no median at this time.
Can I ask, is there any way to get access from the west side to that property?
There is not. No, not with
What
the,
is that? There's a road.
so the river,
The river's-
the
Oh, the
river
river's
precludes
there.
that.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Mr. Ardmore?
And it looks like the applicant has 4 parking stalls per unit.
Correct.
And are these going to be families or singles? 4
Yeah,
singles.
It's designed for family occupancy, but 3 unrelated singles could live
3,
there.
not 4, right? 3.
Can you tell me where the other 2 spots are? I'm assuming 2 are in the garage.
Yes, exactly.
Where
Yeah,
on this-
each have a 2-car garage and then the stalls behind the garage in tandem. So yeah,
Oh, like the driveway.
yeah, 2-car garage and then the driveway. You got it.
I had a question as you were presenting this. What would it need to look like to fit into the already existing zone? Like the Pro R22 zone, what would their project need to look like? I'm assuming
Single-family
it doesn't really?
Mhm. That's the only added density that you could put into that project. It was written specifically that way. So
So it was like parcel specific.
Mhm.
So you couldn't do similar to what they'd done on the rest of the zone.
Correct. Yeah, it'd have to be a single family home or else you're going above the allowed density for that Pro.
Okay. Could you tell us, Mr. Ardmore, what sorts of comments were made on Open City Hall?
Yeah, happy to. So a neighborhood meeting was held. I attended that meeting. There wasn't any concern in that. And of course, it was held on, it was posted on Open City Hall. There was, I believe, 9 feedback comments. All of them supported the changing of the zone. All of them thought it made sense. There were, suggestions or people that want to redesign the site plan. But the zone change was supported.
Okay. Thank you.
And were any of those people the people that live right behind that property? In those
It's,
single
I couldn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many people attended the neighborhood meeting?
It was on Zoom, but there were a good amount of people there. There were 2 items that night. The other is a development further up north from here, but there is, I would say, probably between 20, 25 people online.
Okay. Thank you. Is the applicant here? Excellent. Come on up. Tell us your name and what else do I need you to tell me? Hold on, it's coming to me. Your name and your affiliation.
It's Matt Brown. I'm owner of MW Brown Engineering. Our client Jared Osmond is who's doing the development.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add to what Mr. Ardmore's told us?
No, it's been a process to get to this point. We had to get an access easement for utilities and access from the apartments, and that took a while. And we looked at several different things, but this is the only thing that really made sense for Jared to do. So I think it's his intent that he may even live in one of them. He's actually looking at that. So that or his kids, one of the 2.
My one question, I'm sorry. I guess would be kind of what is the plan for the back space? Would that just kind of be one open kind of shared or communal space, do you think, most likely, or
Yeah,
backyards?
there's quite a few limitations because of the easements from the river and that, but he just wants to make a nice common
Oh,
area for the residents there.
gotcha.
Will there be a fence around that area so that it's property specific instead of people wandering through, or you don't know?
We haven't
It's
discussed
concept.
that.
Okay.
So,
I just wanted to ask a question about the driveways. So it's so that I understood Mr. Ardmore correctly, each of those will have a driveway off of that access road. It's not coming in from the north and then driving down across to everybody's driveway, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so there'll be 6 access points.
And where's it looks to me on the drawings that the front door is on the back side. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. The front faces the river.
And so how do people get around to the front door that are coming to visit?
We'll have sidewalks and stuff that haven't been added that go around there.
So the only way into the units from the other side is through the garage.
That's correct.
Commissioners, any other questions for the applicant? I had a question about design. One thing we've talked about in other discussions is the way that these projects look from the road view. And I think this has a really nice front view, which nobody but someone who knocks on their door will ever see.
Mhm.
But I would have suggestions that the side view that faces 4800 North would be similarly aesthetically pleasing instead of, it's still actually quite nice, but that was my only concern when I looked at the elevations was how it presents from 4800 North. Does any,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but once we go through the architectural review committee, I'm pretty sure that's gonna come
That's-
out.
okay. Is that something I don't need to worry about?
Yeah, through the,
That we have to have the doorway on that facing side
Okay.
anyway.
you're
Right.
right. So through the project plan, we'll go through all the actual technical aspects of this and it will have to go through design.
I just
review.
wanted to make sure we didn't need to say we'd like to see that or that will actually be
Appreciate
screened.
that. Yeah.
Because I have appreciated those discussions we've had in the past that help to make a nice streetscape regardless of the volume of people living behind the walls.
Yeah, and I know Jared's open to that, so he's wanting these to be
Okay,
really nice, so.
excellent. Thank you. Anything else you want to tell us?
No.
Okay, you can sit down for just a minute. Okay, is there a neighborhood chair here that would like to speak to these items? Are there any others that would like to speak to these items, make public comment? Okay, we will close the hearing portion. And then as commissioners, do we have any questions that we've had come up or any thoughts or any way we want to lead this discussion to move it towards a decision?
I have no comment.
Mr. Miller has no comment. Mr. Knutson, you have comments. I can feel it in you.
Does the city do any kind of, or how much traffic do they figure per unit? Does the city do a study that gives you a kind of a round number of how many times the person drives their car out of their home back every day?
Yeah, so that's part of the analysis that engineering will do. They'll look at the traffic impact once it comes in for project plan building permit phase.
I'm sure it all depends on
They base their
people,
fees
whether
off
they're-
that. So
older retired couple that's there, or whether it's a family that has a lot of children that are active.
yeah, they have some general numbers that they use, but David could comment on more.
Dave.
It's on.
Yeah, it is on. Try turning it off back on.
Okay,
Oh,
David
you
Dale,
did
Public
the Turn on
Works.
and off rule.
the number we use per residential unit, single family like that, the 11.4 trips per unit. So you could do the math on that, 6, so around 70 trips a day right there. That is an average though. So as we've counted different neighborhoods in Provo over the years, we've been as high as like 26 trips a day in more affluent neighborhoods that have a lot more cars. In the areas where they have smaller homes and fewer cars, then it drops down significantly. But the 11.4 is probably on the low side of the average. The average a few years back was about 16. So
And what if you had 3 singles living in each unit? What would be the maximum with that?
singles, it would probably fit within that same range, the around 12 trips a day. Yeah, most of that range are people who are going somewhere and they're gone all day and then they come back. So
They're not taking people to soccer games and.
yeah,
I was going to say, I feel like the number of trips I make since getting married have drastically gone up. A lot more errands all of a sudden.
2 trips to the grocery store a day, and yeah. Okay.
So, Mr. Day, those are numbers that if the road size or the access isn't conducive to the numbers of the traffic study that you guys work out, then the project plan would be adjusted at that point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd have to make everything work. An entrance like that, though, would accommodate whatever would be put here. You could go quite a bit more dense on that piece if it was just a consideration of traffic.
Is the distance from the light at the signal intersection sufficient for traffic turning in and out that far away?
Yeah, it is. The more critical is looking to the left as you make a left turn across the bridge, because
there's
there's a little bit
visibility.
of camber to the bridge and you lose a little bit of visibility.
Yeah, that makes me nervous too. I wouldn't want to have to make a left turn across 4800 North.
But that particular entrance was put in with the development that's already there. So that's already functioning.
It's already being used. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Commissioners, do you have, these two go together. Do you want to talk about how you feel about the concept plan first, or do you want to talk about how you feel about the zone first? Okay. Do we have a problem with the request to move from this zone that only allows 1 single family house in this exact location versus up to 11 units, feasibly only 6?
So I guess the only thing is the single family lot was part of negotiations with surrounding residents, especially and particularly those living on 4750 North Street. So I guess I'd want to make sure that we aren't going against anything that was already promised to those residents. So I understand that nobody spoke up at a city council meeting or a neighborhood meeting, and nobody on the open platform, but what was promised to them, or how did that go down?
Yeah, that was a very long negotiation over many months for that zone change for the apartment building. My impression is that now that the apartment building is built and you've got all the other surrounding uses, I get the impression that this just isn't controversial anymore, which is why we're not hearing from people on 4750 or others. But that's just my impression.
Okay. I just thought of another question. Do we have visitor parking anywhere for these units?
Number wise, you do. So each unit would require 3 spaces, and each unit's providing 4. So
Okay.
essentially that
Okay,
provides you the
that
visitor.
provides it.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Any other comments on how you feel about the LDR zone request? I actually think it's very compatible with what's around it. Okay, before we make further decisions on that, how do you feel about the concept plan as far as the LDR zone goes? Moving back to item 1 specifically.
I think it meets the criteria, and it is actually, because of the constrictions, it's less than what the LDR would allow. So I think it's fine.
Okay, Mr. Miller?
I think as far as elevations go, I feel like it looks pretty good. I've seen much worse looking townhome elevations. So yeah, I feel like it's a good look, good fit.
I think it will be nice nestled in there next to the river.
Yeah.
A good transitional use for the other uses. Any other comments? Do we have a motion on item number 1? Mr. Miller?
Yeah, I can try to make a motion. Is this just, can I borrow your?
So this is something we're actually going to approve,
Okay,
continue,
so we-
or deny.
Gotcha, for the concept plan.
Mhm.
Okay, so I move that we approve the concept plan for the 6-unit townhome development in the proposed LDR zone located at 193 West, 4800 North, River Bottoms neighborhood.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Miller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
And then I can just go ahead and make a motion on the second one, or does someone else?
we have to vote on this one first.
Oh, sorry, jumping the gun here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's just go down the line. Mr. Miller,
Aye.
Mr. Knutson,
Aye.
Ms. Kendall,
Aye.
and I will also vote aye. So that's 4 votes for and no votes against. Item number 1 has been approved by the Planning Commission. All right, item number 2, we kind of talked how we like the zone. We think it fits. Do we have any more discussion we want to have, or are we ready to have a motion on this one as well?
I'll give a motion.
All right, Mr. Knutson. This is a legislative item, so we're just making a recommendation.
Making a positive recommendation of item number 2 to the municipal council. Matt W. Brown requests a zone map amendment from the Pro-R22 zone to the LDR, low density residential zone for property located at 193 West, 4800 North, to allow for a 6-unit townhome development. This is in the River Bottoms neighborhood.
Okay, we have a motion for a positive recommendation for item number 2. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Ms. Kendall with the second. That was Mr. Knutson with the motion. And any discussion on the motion? Okay, let's start with Mr. Miller,
Aye.
Mr. Knutson,
Aye.
Ms. Kendall,
Aye.
and I will also vote aye. So item number 2 is a 4 votes to 0 to forward a positive recommendation onto the city council to approve that zone map amendment. Okay, that concludes our agenda items tonight. Is there anything else we need to discuss? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I can do my last motion to adjourn.
Mr. Miller, we will miss you.
Thank you.
All right, go for it.
I motion that we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. Thank you for being here.